Look, guys, it's a Pikachu. Wait, a Pikachu? I thought this was Easter. Pikachu's not a rabbit. Is it? It's pointy ears like a rabbit. No fluffy tail. It's a pocket monster, right? It's a mouse. Pikachu, you're cute though. I have an idea. So it's Easter time. I'm going to teach you guys how to make a Pikachu out of an already pre-colored plastic egg. So we're going to do this together. So all you're going to need are some craft acrylic paints. I'm going to use yellow, red, brown. I also have some white and black paint as well. I also have a little spray bottle full of water. Notice I've already laid out my paints. Now if you don't have a palette, I'm not using my palette today because I have a piece of aluminum foil. To keep my paint fresh, I'm going to just spray a little bit of water. And that makes sure it doesn't dry out. We're joined today by some Easter bunnies and a chick and Thumper from Bambi. Also make sure you have some nice paintbrushes and a rag or some type of paper towel so you can wipe off your brushes. And don't forget a little container of water. Okay, so we're going to start with a plastic egg and we're going to make it look just like Pikachu. Alright, so what I'm going to start off with, I'm going to use this brush. Now, my Pikachu has a little bit of white here on his face. So I'm going to start off, take off some of the excess water, and I'm going to dip it into my white. Not too much. Alright, so I want his face to start about here in the middle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just gently paint on the plastic. We're going to make it a curvy shape. There we go. It's almost like a mustache. Just add a little bit more. Now this is acrylic paint, so this is going to dry pretty quick, as long as you don't use a lot of water. There. Alright, I'm going to let that dry. Shouldn't take too long. While it dries, I'm going to clean my brush. And next I'm going to use black. Not too much. Alright, so right here on his face, the black eyes is just above that little bit of white. So we're going to go ahead and draw with our paint some little black circles. And take your time, no rushing. Just gently take your time. We may have to use a few coats of paint. And that's okay, there's nothing wrong with that. Just gently dab the paint on. Just kind of poke at it. There we go. That's one eye. The best part about that is I can compare. Looks pretty good. Alright. So I don't want the other eye to be too far away. By now my white paint is dry. Look at that. Alright, so now we're going to do his nose. And again, my white paint's already pretty dry. Nose is a little triangle shape. So take your time. Paint on a tiny little triangle there at the bottom, right where the white paint meets the yellow plastic. Then we're going to make his mouth. Alright, now his mouth's a little tricky, so we're going to do it step by step. So first it's going to look like a little frown. And then on each side we're going to curve it upwards. Take your time. If you want, add just a little line there in the center. If your lines look a little messy, just go back over it and try to make it as clean as you can. That's pretty good. Okay, when you're done that, clean off your brush. Wipe all that excess paint off. A few good rinses, and wipe it off on your cloth. Alright. So now we're going to make his little red cheeks. So as I can see, they're not quite underneath the eye directly, they're over to the side a little bit. Get a little bit of red, not too much. Alright, so I'm going to make his little red cheeks right about here. Almost right where my white paint ends. And again, you may need to use 2 coats. That's fine. Just drip it on. Dab it on there gently. So there's one side. And gently do the other side too. Remember, it's not directly under the eye, it's a little bit over to the side. Just paint on some circles. Nice and easy. Take your time. No rushing. Gently drip it on, dab it on there. Nice. Clean off the brush when you're finished. See, it's starting to look like Pikachu. Alright, so what I'm going to do at the top, because Pikachu has these cute little black tips on his ears. I'm going to go back to my black. Not too much. And at the top, you can pretty much do this wherever you want. You can just paint on little black tips. I'm just going to put one here, kind of like a little circle. And then one right next to it here. Just for his little black tips. Very cute. When that's done, I'm going to flip him over. Make sure the front dries before you do this. If you're working on the table, see, I'm holding mine up in the air. If you're working with yours on the table, wait for the front to dry and pause my video and then come back to it. Alright, so now we're going to do his backside. So the front's looking pretty good. Alright, so now his backside. So notice Pikachu's backside has 2 brown stripes and then he has his tail. So what we're going to do first, we're going to work on those stripes. Mix up my brown. It was a little bit separated. Okay, not too much on my brush. And he's got 2 stripes. So I'm going to probably use quite a lot because my brown's separated. And to fix that, you just mix it up. Wipe some excess off. And just go back over those lines. Just dab it on. And if they're not perfect, don't worry about it, because we're going to be painting over top of it for his tail. So do your best. There we go. 2 brown stripes. Okay, let that dry. Clean off your brush. Those lines look pretty good. Okay, so now what we're going to do his tail. So what I'm going to use first is more brown. And he has a lightning bolt shape tail. So his tail starts right about here. So I'm going to start with just a little circle. And from that circle, I'm going to make my little jagged lines. There's one coming out that way. Then going back. A little more paint. And I'm going to make a big one coming up here. See that? Start with a circle. Little line going back. Big line going up. Another one coming over too. So now I'm going to darken those up with more paint. There we go. So just try to get it as dark as you can, a little bit darker than the lines on his back. If it's not perfect, don't worry about it. Remember, this is his backside. You're not really going to look at his backside very much. Alright, now I have some yellow paint. Now my yellow paint is actually a little bit darker than the paint on the plastic. This one is called Bright Yellow from Craft Smart Acrylic Paint. So if you have some of that lying around, it's the perfect kind of paint. Alright, so from this part, where we left off, I'm going to use my yellow and gently make another line coming up. Notice how I'm going over top of that line on his back. And don't worry if you say, oh man, I really can't see the yellow paint very well. Don't worry. I'll show you how to make it just stand out a little bit more. Alright, so we're going to finish up here. Now notice his tail gets a little wider, so we're going to try to make this a little bit bigger if we can. Kind of add like a triangle shape on top of that. Cleaning off your brush. And the very tip of his tail has a little bit of white. At least the end of my toy does. Alright, so let that dry. And I'll show you how his tail can stand out. Now after your paint has dried, I'm going to use a little bit of black. And what we're going to do is we are going to trace around his tail. This is going to give his tail some depth, and it's going to add like shadow effects to his back to separate his tail from his back. To gently trace around. Mine's not 100% dry, that's okay. Remember, this part doesn't have to be perfect because you're adding a shadow. So if it's a little thicker in some spots, that's perfect because it's a shadow. They don't have to be thin. If a few parts are thinner than the others, that's fine. His shadow isn't as big in those spots. Maybe the shadow is bigger on the opposite side, just like mine are. And this is going to let it stick out. Just very gently, very slowly. Take your time. And there you have it, his tail over top the lines on his back. And here we have our finished Pikachu. This is really cool. Well, I hope you enjoyed painting our Easter Pikachu. Everybody have a safe and happy Easter. Now, Chomper, that's not how you sit in an Easter egg. Pretty cute, though. Oh, come on, Pikachu. Why are you sitting on my friends? Getting painted as an Easter egg wasn't that bad, was it? Was it? At least we didn't put you in a Pokeball. Or worse, one of these plastic eggs.